Welcome back to Frontline Brief. It is day 10 of the Iran conflict, and the geopolitical landscape is shifting rapidly. France is now stepping up with a naval coalition to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Oil prices have blown past $100 a barrel, and global powers are scrambling to respond. We have 5 critical stories to cover today, so let's get right into it. French President Emmanuel Macron has announced that France and its allies are preparing a purely defensive naval mission to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow waterway, through which roughly 20% of the world's oil supply passes every day, has been effectively shut down since the start of the conflict. Macron emphasized that the mission would focus on escorting container ships and fuel tankers through the strait, not on engaging Iranian military forces directly. The announcement signals a major escalation in Western involvement in the crisis. Several European and Asian nations are reportedly in talks to contribute warships to the coalition. Analysts say reopening the strait is now the single most important economic priority for the global economy, as prolonged closure could trigger a full-blown energy crisis affecting every major industrial nation on the planet. U.S. President Donald Trump is facing mounting pressure on the 10th day of the Iran war, as oil prices surged past $100 a barrel for the first time since the Russian invasion of Ukraine. In a press conference at the White House, Trump insisted he has a plan to bring the conflict to a swift resolution, though he declined to share any specifics. Meanwhile, Iran announced that the hardline son of the assassinated Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has been named as the country's new supreme leader, signaling that Tehran has no intention of backing down. Markets reacted sharply, with the Dow falling over 800 points in a single session. Defense analysts warn that without a clear diplomatic off-ramp, the conflict risks escalating further into a broader regional war that could draw in additional actors. In a dramatic sign of how the Middle East war is reshaping global energy flows, fuel tankers that were headed to Europe and Africa are now making U-turns mid-ocean to redirect toward Asia. Asian energy buyers, desperate to secure supplies as the conflict enters its second week, are outbidding rivals with massive premiums to lure shipments away from their original destinations. Industry data shows that at least a dozen tankers have changed course in the past 72 hours alone. The rerouting is creating a cascading supply crisis, with European nations now facing potential fuel shortages within weeks. Jet fuel crack spreads have soared to record highs, and gasoline prices at the pump are climbing daily across the United States, Europe, and parts of South America. Energy experts say this is the most severe supply disruption since the 1973 oil embargo. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi has delivered one of Beijing's strongest statements yet on the Middle East conflict, expressing deep concern and calling on all parties to pursue an immediate ceasefire. In a carefully worded address, Wang Yi said that war benefits no one and urged the United States to return to the negotiating table. China's position is particularly significant because it remains the largest buyer of Iranian crude oil, and record volumes of sanctioned oil, nearly 40 million barrels, are currently sitting in floating storage on tankers off the Chinese coast. Beijing is walking a tightrope, trying to maintain its energy imports while positioning itself as a neutral mediator. Some analysts believe China may push for a United Nations Security Council resolution, though the U.S. would likely veto any measure seen as constraining its military operations. Former Congressman Ron Paul has made explosive claims on his Liberty Report, alleging that the Trump administration ignored a community-wide U.S. intelligence assessment before launching the attack on Iran. According to Paul, the assessment concluded that the Iranian government was unlikely to be destroyed by outside military force, drawing direct parallels to the flawed intelligence that preceded the Iraq War in 2003. Paul argued that the administration cherry-picked intelligence to justify a predetermined course of action. The claims have reignited debate in Washington about the decision-making process that led to the strikes. Several Democratic lawmakers are now calling for congressional hearings, while the White House has dismissed Paul's allegations as outdated and taken out of context. If verified, these claims could significantly undermine public support for the ongoing military campaign. That wraps up today's Frontline Brief. The situation in the Middle East is evolving by the hour, so make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a critical update. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'll be back tomorrow with the latest developments. Stay informed, stay safe.